way to Stoke. It's a road trip, and we decided, I'm in the car, I'm in the minibus, more than the car, with a number of my guys, and basically we decided to take this road trip, go and see another investor, look at his portfolio and the projects that he's been working on. So we decided on this road trip we're going to do an AMA, ask me anything. These guys are going to shoot the questions and I'm going to answer, and obviously it's live, so whoever's got the phone at the time, if you write in a little question, hopefully they'll ask your question as well. If you got any questions for Samuel, what do I do, how do I do it, who do I do it with, etc., I'll be happy to answer. Alright, so the camera's going to the back, and we'll run the AMA. Alright, so go for it. First question, who's got a question?
Are you going for it, Courtney?
First question.
I haven't really thought about a question. Right, so on your latest deal,
On my latest deal,
yeah, can you explain to us the return on investment?
woo! I love that. Alright, strong question straight off the bat. On my latest deal, can I explain the return on investment? So right now, I think the reason Courtney asked is because he's involved in that deal, but we're currently working on a 6-bed HMO. That 6-bed HMO we're taking on as a rent-to-rent, and basically the way it works is we actually structured it one way originally, but now we've restructured it. So based on the restructure is how I'm going to explain the ROI. So it's a 6-bed HMO where there's a guaranteed rent to the landlord of £2,100, and each of the rooms on average, just say, and I'm saying on average, rent out for £550. So you can do the maths on that. Are you doing the maths, Courtney? No?
You haven't told us how many rooms?
6 rooms. I said it's a 6-bed.
sorry.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So it's a 6-bed.
3,300.
Roughly, yeah. So roughly 3,300 is the income. Roughly 2,100 is the actual guarantee of the rent to the landlord, and then we've got a bills contingency of roughly £450, £500. So that's all in for 2006, and that's obviously 3,003 being generated. So again, that's a £700 profit. And in terms of our investment, which is interesting, our original investment was going to be a sourcing fee that we're paying the person who brought the deal to us, but what we did is we restructured it because of some liability on their side. So because of the restructure, the way it works right now is we're going to be paying around £1,000 upfront fee, and then we're not going to take any income from the property until we pay off the sourcing fee. So we're basically paying the sourcing fee in installments. Now, because we're paying the sourcing fee in installments, what that means is it reduces our liability on the deal massively. So we'll give out about £1,000 day one, and that's it. And then we'll work for free. So obviously you've got to put your hustle on. We'll work for free for probably the first 3 or 4 months, and that £700 profit will go to the person who's brought us that deal for the first 3 or 4 months. But after the 3 or 4 months with that £700 profit's gone to that person, we then have that contract for the length of the term, and we're going to be generating £700 a month. You could do the maths on that. That's £8,400 a year. £8,400 when your original investment was £1,000. I think that's at 840% ROI, roughly. So yeah, we're putting £1,000 in up front. We're getting £700 a month. We're going to run that for a year. That's going to be £8,400 income, and off a £1,000 investment, that should be at 840% ROI. So does that answer the question?
Yep.
Cool.
Right,
Next question, Prince.
Let's say hello to our guys who are watching us.
Hello everyone who's watching online.
Hi Brian.
Hello Brian.
Hi Ian.
Hi Ian. Send your questions, guys. Send your questions. It's an AMA. Ask me anything.
Yeah, just ask anything you want and we will give you a feedback on it.
Excellent.
Okay, so we are going up to Stoke. What is the main purpose that we are going up to today?
Alright, now one of the things I'd say is everybody has different intentions for different things. Right now I'm in the car with what I would say are bosses, okay? So the guy who's holding the phone is the director of Anno Properties. Courtney, who you just heard ask his first question, he's the director of Mango Properties. You know, myself, obviously you know the companies I own, etc. So basically we're taking this road trip as kind of like an exploration. I have a very good friend who's based in Stoke. He's part of a group up there, and basically we're going to see him. We're going to view his portfolio. Now, about a year ago, I think it was about a year ago, I basically went to Stoke and I looked at what the project called the Flower Pot, which was a hotel which my friend bought. and him and his team bought that hotel, renovated that hotel, and they've absolutely finished the whole project. Now, this was one of the powerful things. When they actually bought the hotel, they recognized that the next house was empty as well. So because they recognized the next house was empty, typical sourcing strategy, we buy houses quickly, do you want to sell your house fast, etc. And basically they got a response from the next door neighbor, and the next door neighbor said yes, they do want to sell, and they would sell to them. So they ended up picking up the third property in a row, because the hotel was basically two old properties next door to each other. They ended up picking up the third property in a row for 85,000. So now they didn't only own the hotel, which was two houses, they also owned the third property. Now with all three properties in a row owned, what they did, which is quite sophisticated, because my friend has a...
Yeah, we back on?
Yeah, we're back on.
Yep.
Alright, cool. So apologies, we got cut off, but yeah, so what my friend did, because he's got a 20-year background in construction, he used the third property that they bought as their office effectively, whilst they built out the flower pot, which was the two buildings which made up the hotel. Now they've finished the flower pot now, but now they're just finishing up on the third property. So we've been invited down to have a look at that property, also have a look at the finished product of the flower pot, because I did say a year ago when I went to the flower pot, I would come back and come and see my friend and do a video out there. And also they've just had another massive acquisition. They've basically bought a whole street of properties near Hanley. So what we're going to do is, after we see the flower pot and the third property, we're then going to go and look at the acquisitions over there as well. So basically this is a day out for me and my guys. I want my guys to see kind of what's possible in property. I want them to understand how much you can do on your own as an entrepreneur without having the big brand behind you, without being a CBRE, or I don't want to promote any other names, but without being one of those guys. You know, you can do it. You know, you can actually do it. So today's all about mindset and belief. So yeah, follow us on this journey through our videos, through Facebook, through YouTube, through whatever. So yeah, next question. Does that answer the question?
Yep, it does.
Cool. Any other questions?
What are your goals?
Boom. What are my goals? Are we talking about property goals or holistic goals?
Both.
Alright, cool. So this is one of my favorite questions to answer. Okay, it's one of my favorite questions to answer. And I guess the most important question, or the heart of this question is you, whoever's watching, what is your goal? Okay, I'm gonna answer it, but you need to think about what is your goal, because if you don't have goals, you know, failing to plan is planning to fail, they say. So you need your own goals as well. All right, now I'll take you back 2005. In 2005, I did a goals workshop, and I learned from that goals workshop that I can achieve anything that I put my mind to. So since 2012, when I got married, me and my wife periodically every single year we do a goals workshop where we lay out exactly what our goals are. Now a lot of those goals, probably 90% of those each year, are the same. We're not live yet.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We are on.
I don't need to have it in mind. We're on.
Yep.
Alright, cool. So goals, that's what we're talking about. Alright, and we're just firing up questions here. So basically, so since 2012, my wife and I now periodically every single year we basically do a goal setting workshop where we lay out what our goals are, and 90% of them, usually year in year out, are the same or developments of goals we had previously. Now Courtney's asked, what are my goals? So here they are. I've got goals in 3 strands. 1, property, which I call like the body, the physical, the arm of flesh. 2nd, education, which I call the soul. And then 3rdly, the spirit, which is all about my ministry and the work I want to do in ministry. In terms of property, just to keep it simple, because this is a property trip, my property goals are to own 15 blocks of flats across 3 different cities. So it's 5 blocks in 3 cities. And the reason we have that goal is because we want that to cash flow and fund the ministry goals that we have, and also the educational goals that we have. Now in terms of my educational goals, the soul goals, my wife and I have a goal to set up our own federation of schools. So that's 1 school in the UK, in London, 1 school in the West Indies, and 1 school in Africa. And our heart and our passion about these schools is that they will provide a Christian curriculum supplemented by entrepreneurship and enterprise. So we want to teach children morality and ethics, but we want to teach them how to go into business, how to take over big companies and big brands, and how to set up their own businesses and become world-class entrepreneurs. Now, in terms of ministry, our vision, my wife and I's vision, is to basically support 300 families in the East London area on a regular basis through means of financial you know, food, etc, etc, etc. So that's the three core areas of our goals, and that's our three big banner goals. So I hope that helps you. And like I said, you know, look, even post on this Facebook Live, what are your goals? Let's know what your goals are, see if I can help you, etc. If you got a sourcing business or you're interested in growing your sourcing business, I've just released a brand new e-publication. It's on the web link www.sourcingblueprint.com. You can go to sourcingblueprint.com, absolutely free, no charge. You know, you can get
comment section.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, we on?
All right, cool. So sourcingblueprint.com, you can go there, get a free e-publication. We'll put the link in the comments later on. Kazim, hello. You're live with us. So hello, Kazim. Hello, everyone else who's viewing online. All right, next question, guys.
How do you feel? Sorry, first off, do you? I'm presuming you would want to scale up your rent-to-rent business. How would you go about scaling up?
All right, cool. That's a great question. Do I want to scale up my rent-to-rent business? The honest truth answer to that is no. Alright, I personally don't want to scale up my rent-to-rent business. Will I take on more rent-to-rents? Yes. Alright, because like the example that Courtney asked about earlier, with an 800% in that field, unless you had some core values against it. So like service apartments, for example, you can get some really crazy ROI there, but I don't do it because of the 90-day rule in London. So again, unless you got ethical issues, you know, you'd be silly to not go and operate with an 800% ROI.
Okay.
So
okay, Brian has actually asked the question on service department.
Alright,
so
cool. So that's good.
He's asked, do you operate?
Let's come back to that.
We'll come back to that.
Alright, Brian, we're gonna answer your question in the AMA, guys.
Yep. We are on.
Alright, cool. So Adab's question was basically, do you want to scale up the rent-to-rent business? I've answered that already. And then the second part was, how would I advise others to scale up their rent-to-rent business? The first way I'd advise you to scale up your rent-to-rent business is by going to www.sourcingblueprint.com and getting my e-manual and actually reading through it, because that will show you, I actually put in there my infographic, the Sourcing Blueprint infographic that I created as well. That will show you the 4 core areas of how to source opportunities, and obviously rent-to-rent are opportunities. So that's the first thing I'd give you. It's a little bit of homework and it's easy to do. Now, the next thing I'll do is I would say you need to market aggressively. Okay, if you're trying to scale up any business, marketing aggressively is one key part. But before you market aggressively, you have to put in place the components to have a successful business, so that when your leads come through, you can manage those leads and you can do all the other aspects which we all talk about in the Sourcing Blueprint. So hopefully that answers the question. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So Brian's question about SA.
Yep. So Brian is asking, do you operate any SAs, and if so, what's your take on that industry?
Okay, so do I operate any service apartments? Tangibly, the answer is no. And what's my take on that industry? What I'd say is this: I've sourced service apartments before. One of the best service apartments I ever sourced was actually a two-bedroom apartment in Bermondsey, right next to the station. It was about 4 minutes from the station. We sourced that and we actually did something very creative on that. We partnered with a service apartment management company, and we sourced it onto them, and that allowed us to actually get paid monthly after it was actually done. So those of you in the sourcing space who are looking for creative deals, that's a creative deal where you can actually get residual income rather than a one-off payment for sourcing a deal. In terms of my feedback on the industry, I think if you're in London and you're breaking the law, you shouldn't break the law. That's what I think. You know, there's a 90-day rule. There are people who know what they're doing. They're quite savvy, and they've got some intelligent processes in place in London which legalizes the process. For those people, my hat is off to you. I rate you. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep innovating, because I'm all about innovation and creativity. But for those of you who are doing some willy-nilly business, like just get out of it. Do something proper. You know, do something that can stand and leave a legacy for your children and for other people. So that's what I'm into. I'm into legacy. You can't leave a legacy breaking the law. So that's my thoughts on it. But in terms of the industry as a whole, I think service apartment is an amazing industry. I think if you know what you're doing, you can make some great revenue. My friend who we're going to see right now in Stoke operates service apartment units in terms of the flower pot and what they've done there, and their intention. Shout out to Charles Palmer, who's right now in the Orient, who just flew out, but he's got a great service apartment business up in Edinburgh, and also he's interested in service apartments in the London area as well. So I think service apartments are great strategy. Also, the host of the Stoke Pin, I know Stoke Pin was yesterday. Pin stands for Property Investors Network. The Barker Halls, they've got service apartments up there as well. So I think service apartments are great strategy if you know what you're doing and if you're connected with the right people. All right, does that answer the question?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. Let's give a shout out to all our guys watching.
All of you watching.
Jen is watching.
Hello. Send your questions. It's an AMA. Ask me anything.
Yep.
All right. So hello to all of you who are watching live, guys. Any other questions in the car? And any other questions in the minibus?
What's the biggest deal you let go?
Woo! What's the biggest deal I let go?
Oh.
All right. What is the biggest deal I let go? I'm gonna. All right. The biggest deal I ever let go was the first ever commercial property that we were offered. And the reason why is because my background when I went into sourcing was all residential. I didn't understand how to source a commercial deal. So basically we got offered a 4-story building, commercial building in the Greenwich area. It was actually in Deptford, those of you who know Southeast London, but the actual court, the business duplex, was called Greenwich something. I can't remember what it was called at the time. But basically, we were offered this for around 600,000 or 700,000 K, and we know that it would have sold on probably for about 800 or 900. But we just didn't understand commercial at the time. So at the end of the day, we weren't able to close a deal on it. So in terms of the biggest deal I let go, I guess that's the answer. It was the commercial building, the first commercial we were offered by a vendor. In the Greenwich/Deptford area. So yeah.
So part B to that question.
Part B to that question.
If you were to tell if you were to go back in time, how would you do things different?
All right, cool. I love that question. All right, so if I was to go back in time, what would I tell my younger self about that deal to make sure that deal got over the line? I would tell my younger self that 10% of something is better than 100% of nothing. I would tell my younger self that being a part of a deal is better than being the guy in the deal. And I think a lot of people who go into property don't ever understand that. You can have money right now. So imagine you got 200K in your bank account, but because you want to do everything yourself, you don't do anything. And for the next 4 years, you stay in your job, dead-end job probably, just saving your crumbs. And yeah, your 200K might become 201, 204 in the next 4 years. But there's a guy out there with no money who's going to go out there, who's going to raise private finance, find deals, knock those deals down, and generate 200K in the same 4-year period, which would have been a double, a 200% or 100% ROI increase on your actual 200K if you just invested with him. So I would tell my younger self, being a part of a deal is better than being the man with no deal. So I would have told my younger self, go and find someone who does do commercial deals, who understands how to get them over the line, and partner with them. Actually just give them the deal and tell them you're happy to just watch what they do so you can learn in the process. And that might mean you make no money. That might mean that, and that's cool if you're smart. The reason why is because you make something more valuable than money. You make connections, network, and you make opportunities. You build relationships. And that's why I host networking events, because I understand that relationships are so much more powerful than money. So hopefully that answers the question as well. Yeah? All right, cool. Any other questions? Those of you watching, those viewers, we're live. Ask the questions. Ask me anything. All right, cool. Any other questions in the vehicle?
What has investing in property enabled you to do?
Boom. All right. What has investing in property enabled me to do? All right, first and foremost, because I like keeping things practical, investing in property has enabled me to rent the car we're in right now, a 12, 9-seater, whatever it is, to load this car with other people and to start driving a 3-hour journey away from my house to go and see another property investor who's invested in property on a weekday. Okay? And that's the key, on a weekday. All right? I used to work a number of jobs. as a teacher, as a lead practitioner, teaching other teachers how to teach. And I can guarantee you, when I was full-time, there was no weekday. I'm an ethical person. I'm not one of those people who call in sick and all of that when I got stuff to do. Like, I'd have to just tell them, look, I'm doing my property thing. That's why I very quickly went from full-time to 4 days, 4 days to 3 days in my job, because I just needed more time for property. But in terms of what investing in property has enabled me to do, one, it's enabled me to spend more time with my family. Most of you who follow me know that me and my wife, we homeschool our children. I can participate in that now. I'm not in a school helping 370 other people's children to move forward in their education in an environment where the same school doesn't want me to go and invest in my own children. If it's my daughter, I remember, look, I'm going to tell you this story. I remember I was working in one particular school. I was a deputy head of maths in that school, and we had one evening which was an open evening for year 6 children to come in. And because I was a deputy head, my responsibility was key stage 3, so year 7, year 8, and year 9. And I remember, this is so powerful, I remember that the evening of the opening day, which was my responsibility, was also my daughter's first birthday. Alright, so this was about 4 years ago. It was also my daughter's first birthday. And I said to the head teacher, I said to my line manager, the head of maths, I said, is it going to be possible for me to set everything up, put someone else who's going to, you know, just manage the process, and I take the evening off, because I already leave home before my daughter wakes up in the morning. And my line manager said, yeah, that should be fine, you know, I'll definitely put a word in for you to do that. And then they told me to submit a request, you know, the absence request form. I submitted the absence request form, and I got a note back saying, unfortunately, all staff will be expected to attend, so you cannot get the time off. All right, this was my daughter's first birthday, so I'm working in a school with other people's children, investing in other people's children, but the school system didn't want me to invest in my own children. All right, so I would have left that morning not seeing my daughter because she was asleep before I left, and I would have come home after 9 p.m. not seeing my daughter because she would have been asleep by the time I got home, just to satisfy and appease a job. So this is the curse, and I'm going to call it a curse. This is the curse I broke by investing in property, and I'd encourage you to break those kind of curses yourself. Now let me go deeper, because I'm not trying to like dish the dirt, but I want to go deeper. When I actually did attend that evening for the open day, what I actually realized was there were several teachers who didn't attend as employees. They actually attended as parents because they lived in the local area and their children were in year 6. So that was actually evidence that it was inaccurate, what I was told. That's first. The second thing was, the day after the event, I was actually told by my head of maths at the time, again, I'm not dishing the dirt, I'm just telling you as it is, that there were certain members of leadership who took days off to go and get MOTs for their car. So obviously, if you're not the boss, you don't make the rules. But this was the kind of situation I was in certain schools I worked in. So, you know, it is what it is. It's an interesting system, but you know, you can create your own system. So these are some of the things that property investing has enabled me to do. It's enabled me to spend more time with people I like, people I love. There's people in this vehicle right now that I've got an affinity for, and that's why we're spending more time together. That's why we're taking a 2-3 hour drive up to see other people's portfolios as well. You know, because it's real. Even tomorrow, I'm in Lincolnshire tomorrow. Most people don't even know that. Tomorrow, I'm going Stoke today. Tomorrow, I'm in Lincolnshire because one of my business partners has just bought a property out there and wants me to kind of give it the nod. So, yeah, you know, that's what property investing has enabled me to do. All right.
Another question.
Lots of questions now, yeah?
So, I want to like tap into your experience of like people relations. So,
yeah.
say for example, okay, not example, I would like you to tell us how you handled something that may have gone sour or was about to go sour and you turned, no, actually it's a part A and part B. Part A, something that was about to turn sour and how you turned it around. And then part B, something that actually went sour and how you kind of, so maybe either they cheated you out of the deal or, yeah, maybe they just like cut you off. Like when they found out certain information and then they just went round. I don't know if that happened, but I just want to know how you handled bad experiences, basically.
Alright, that's perfect. So, first part of the question, how have I turned around a circumstance or situation? And then the second part of the question that was just asked is, in circumstances that have gone bad, kind of how have I maneuvered from it. So first question, I wrote an email yesterday which I sent out to like people that follow me, and in that email what I explained was I was on the phone yesterday to someone who's a budding property entrepreneur, and this was yesterday morning, and this lady called me and was asking me questions about leafleting, does leafleting work, etc, etc. And one of the things I shared with her is exactly what I put in the email, and all it was the concept that in life things don't always need to go the way you want them to go, but you need to be the kind of person who is very resilient. Okay, so in terms of practicalities, I've never actually had someone steal a deal from me that I know about, and I think I know why. I think the reason why is because I only work with people that I know, like, and trust, and that's it. I only work with people I know, like, and trust, and I will say that to you. Find people that you know, like, and trust, and only work with them. Okay, I've got a team I work with out near Sheffield. All right, I refer people to them. They source properties, they send properties to me. I got a team I work with just next to Blackpool. I refer people to them, they send properties to me. I got a team that I work with in Manchester. I send investors to them. You know, I've got all of these teams that I work with and I relate with and I connect with. I bring them business. I enhance their business. And why? The reason is simple. It's because I know them, I like them, and I trust them. And if it wasn't like that, it wouldn't work any other way. And it's the same with all of my dealings in London. There's people I work with because I know, like, and trust them. Now, in terms of strategy and keeping it practical, because I love to be practical, one of the strategies I have every single day is if I meet somebody new and I want to work with them, I will give them something which is of no risk to me, but gives me an opportunity to see how they handle it. Okay, I will give them an opportunity which is of no risk to me. So for example, if I have, like, right now we've got a property we've just sourced and secured, and we're trying to move it. Now I might have an investor who I've never worked with before, and I say to them, well, look, go and have a look at that property. Our sourcing fee on that property is going to be in the region of between 5 and 7.5 grand. Now, if that person robs me of between 5 and 7.5 grand, I'm not going to feel any way. That's not going to kill me. Okay, but it is going to show me whether this person is the kind of person I want to work with in the future. So what I do is I put low-hanging fruits, you know, the odd amount of money at risk in order for me to work out, do I want to work with this person anymore? And if the answer is yes, if they do great by me for that low-hanging fruit, then, you know, that's the kind of person I'll do some more business with. So hopefully that answers the question as well.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, cool. Any other questions? Those of you who's live, hello. Welcome. We're doing an AMA or Ask Me Anything on our road trip to Stoke. If you've got questions, feel free to ask. Thank you, Brian, for your question earlier about...
Mike is on.
Mike, hello Mike, for being on.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi, Vicky.
Hi, Vicky. Hi, all of you that are on. Alright, this is an AMA, Ask Me Anything. Feel free to send your questions on. Unfortunately, when the live ends, we're not going to have any more questions because we're not going to be live. So, ask me anything as we drive up to Stoke to go and see one of my investor friends and his portfolio and the team he works with. Alright, cool.
Why haven't you done any developments?
Alright, cool. Good question. Alright, so the question that just came from Mango Properties is, why have I not done any what I would call reasonable scale developments? Alright, now, I'm one of those people, and I used to share this with teachers I used to mentor in education. I encourage people to stay in their lane. And right now, my focus is cash flow. And because my focus is cash flow, me going into developments, you know, anyone who's got any experience in developments understand that developments only suck money. They suck you dry. They ask. You know, they're like bad wives. I know that's controversial, but it is what it is. They're like bad wives. They only ask. They only take. All right, now, to keep it really simple, I'm not ready for development psychologically because I'm not ready to deal with a counterpart in property that's only going to ask for 18 months and then after 18 months decide to give. So right now, all of the deals I mainly focus on are cash flow deals. Now, we have one transaction in the pipeline, which I will say, which is a commercial building in the Waltham Forest area, and the vendor, again, we're direct to vendor like most of our deals, and the vendor has got pre-planning for 9 apartments to be built. So if we are able to acquire that site, that will be my first development because I will build that out. primarily because obviously we've secured it ourselves, and then obviously if we're able to buy it ourselves, which we will be looking at with investor funds, you know, that will be something we build out ourselves. So yeah, you know, in terms of why I haven't done any large-scale developments prior, the answer is just I've been focused on cash flow for the last couple of years. I'm probably still going to focus on cash flow up until mid-2019. That's just the business model that we've got, and that's the structure we've put in place. We did a business restructure earlier this year, and cash flow was still very much what we were interested in. And again, I guess another part of the answer to that question is, because of our long-term goals to fund our educational pursuits and to fund our ministry pursuits, we need to be heavily cash flowing. We need to be extremely cash flowing, because if you're funding a school, you need money on a monthly basis. If you're funding a philanthropic endeavor which gives to people on a weekly basis, you need cash flow rather than having just 400k in a bank. So yeah, so that's part of the reasons why we haven't done any development so far.
So
right, cool.
Does that
Another
mean,
question.
Does that mean you will go into commercial, commercial for cash flow? Or have you looked into commercial for cash flow?
Alright, so 2 questions there. 1, will we go into commercial for cash flow? And 2, have we looked at commercial for cash flow? The answer to both of them is yes. Are we in commercial? Yes as well. So again, we've got another vendor who has a commercial building in Newham, which we're actually trying to tie up right now. We're considering actually running our school, starting our school, if we actually secure that site. So commercial rent to rent is a very viable strategy. Shout out to Marion Courageous Brown and Paul Watts, husband and wife team, who actually host Kensington Pin. Again, that was one of the pins that I spent a lot of time in, and one of the property investors network I spent a lot of time in when I was trying to get my feet in property. And basically Marion was one of the first people that really showed me about commercial rent to rent, which is a more advanced strategy where you basically do exactly what you do in rent to rent but in a commercial space. And I would like to think that Marion's one of the actual specialists in that field and area, so hat off to her. But again, commercial rent to rent is something we look at for cash flow purposes, etc, etc. So yeah, if you want to know more about that, you know, DM me. I'll be happy to talk to you more about commercial rent to rent and how you can make money doing that. So yeah.
So what would be the advice that you give to someone on the edge, you know, deciding to actually come into property, or you know, has got a bit of a mindset problem as to whether to jump in?
Alright, cool. So what advice would I give to someone who's on the edge, questioning whether they should jump into property or not? Alright, I think I don't believe in reinventing the wheel, so I'm gonna keep it simple. I believe it was Nike who said just do it. Okay, and it's that simple, you know, just do it. And when I say just do it, I don't mean, you know, just jump in foolishly. I mean find your space and make your space your space. So for example, you might have money, you might have 2. Next time I'll go to $500,000 if you want.
No,
should we do that?
It's only because you're specific about that figure.
Alright, cool. So basically, where was we at? What was he talking about? What was the question?
Mindset.
Mindset. Alright, so Nike said just do it, and I don't believe in reinventing the wheel. So if someone's on the verge of asking themselves should they jump into property or not, you know, you might be sitting on $500,000, you might be sitting on 200k. You know, the point is just get active. You know, find someone who's more active than you if you don't have the time. You know, there's people that are time rich, people that are cash rich, and people that are knowledge rich. And what I would say is, if you're cash rich, find someone who's knowledge rich or someone who's time rich, and broker a deal. Say to them, look, I'll put money in for your time, for your sweat equity. You put the sweat in, you find the opportunity, you make sure the opportunity stacks up, you let me second guess and look over that opportunity. If it's great, I'll give you the money, you know, and we'll do the deal. All right, same thing. You might have knowledge. If you got knowledge, you got no cash, go find the people with cash, go find the people who've got time, etc, etc, etc. So, you know, we live in a leverage based society. Now, if you're not the big corporations, you need to leverage. So go out there and leverage. Find people you can work with. Find people who can help you. Now, here's an unashamed plug. If you're looking for a place to find people that can help you, go to the PIN meetings. Why do you think I'm always posting about PIN meetings? www.pinmeeting.co.uk. Go to the PIN meetings. There's over 50 networking events in the UK which you can go to, plug into, and meet other investors, meet other people that are doing it, meet other people that have got cash, meet other people that have got time, meet other people that have got knowledge. All right, go to the pin meetings. Blackfriars pin meeting, if you're in London, central London. Blackfriars pin meeting is the 4th Tuesday of every month. Regent's Park pin meeting, my good friend Mike Frisbee, he hosts that meeting. And again, another amazing meeting. Regent's Park meeting is the 3rd Tuesday of every single month. Canary Wharf, my pin meeting. Canary Wharf takes place on the 1st Thursday of every single month. And I did a shout out to Marion earlier. Again, Marion Watts, Kensington pin meeting. It is actually on the 2nd Wednesday of every month. Go plug in. There's other meetings. Clapham. There's other meetings. Luke, who's at Clapham, exactly. Go meet these people. Go meet the hosts. Go find out what they're doing in property. Go connect. All right, so hopefully that answers the question.
Okay, so Brian is asking.
Yes, Brian. Keep the questions coming.
Yeah, I mean, he's on fire at the moment. He's asking, how would you go about capitalizing on the upcoming Section 24 storm?
Hey, now these are the kind of questions I was looking for. All right, how do you capitalize on opportunity? All right, now I'm a strategist. I'm a creative person, so these are the questions that get me buzzing. All right, the way you capitalize is very similar to what I explained earlier. You've got to be marketing. Nobody can send you a deal, give you a deal, offer you a deal if they don't know who you are, what you're doing. Go and market. Have you got letters? Have you got campaigns going on? Like, I teach people to go out there and create marketing campaigns. Don't rest on your laurels. Have a leaflet campaign going on in a certain area which you want to make your area, your territory. Have letters going out to these people. If you're social media savvy, have a social media campaign. Do your ads, do whatever you want to do, but let people know what you do. Simon Zucchi says it in a powerful way. Tell everybody what you do. So that is my question. How do you capitalize on Section 24 and the fact that people are going to be getting bigger tax bills over the next couple of years? You start marketing, you start making yourself a name and a presence in the industry so that people who want to jump out of the property game can jump out and put their property on your lap. Hopefully that answers the question, Brian.
Question.
Good, let's go for it.
So, you network and you get to how have you? What's your secret sauce for basically getting the finance? Like, it's one thing to be familiarize yourself with the investor, but how did you actually get the investor to show you the money?
All right. So have we raised funds from investors? I guess that's the question, right? Yeah. Now, I'm going to answer with one slogan, okay? And you're not going to think this slogan actually meets what answers the question, but it answers the question. For me, and it may be different for everyone, but I think for most people in my community, it's going to be the same. For me, the way I got investors to invest with us is I had to buck the trend. That's the statement. I had to buck the trend. Now, what do I mean by buck the trend? Coming from an Afro-Caribbean community, what I actually realized is that we have a trend, and our trend is to keep things to ourselves. Our trend is to not talk about how lucrative deals we're doing. Our trend is to hide our riches and hide our wealth. All right, now I'm a humble person. I'm not about Ferrari, Lambo and Lambo. That's just not me, okay? If I had a Lambo, you probably wouldn't know, because that's just not me, all right? But nonetheless, I am a person who still had the traditions that many of us have in this community, where we just keep things to ourselves. I remember I was working as a very well-paid lead practitioner, teacher. I was on close to 50K, all right? And I didn't tell anyone. Why would you not tell anyone when you're making 50K a year as a teacher? You're one of the few high-paid teachers, and you're not telling anybody this is possible, this is an opportunity, etc., etc., etc. So the answer to the question in terms of the investors we've worked with is we've just bucked the trend. We've just been people that have been honest about what we're doing. We haven't been afraid to share our success. We haven't been afraid to say, oh look, we got another deal. Some of you may have seen that I post on Facebook sometimes. Great deal, great opportunity, just raised, just got this opportunity in. We need 80K to make it happen. If you're interested, DM me. If you're interested, send me a message, etc., etc. Guys, just tell people what you're doing, okay? Don't be afraid, all right? And that's how investors will basically come and connect with you. So I hope that answers the question.
It's the answer you're giving, so thank you.
All right, cool. Any other questions?
Hi Kevin, hi Evelyn.
Hello Kevin, hello Evelyn. Welcome to the AMA. Ask me anything.
Hi, Israel. I can win.
Hi, Israel. I can win. Good to see you on board. It's an AMA. Ask me anything. All right. Any other questions in the car?
What's the minimum amount of investment you've seen somebody come to the table with that wants to get started in property?
All right. Cool. All right. So the question we just got was, what is the minimum amount of investment we've seen someone come to the table with to get started in property?
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to give you two answers. I'm going to give you the real answer, but the problem is you don't believe it. And then I'm going to give you the PC answer, which you can probably believe. All right. The real answer is zero. No money. Okay. Now, most people who know me know I'm not a no money down preacher. Okay, I don't spend all my time saying you can come with no money, but it's true. But the real answer is no money, no cash whatsoever. So, for example, the deal that Courtney asked about earlier was, can I explain, his question earlier on this AMA was, can I explain the ROI on the most recent deal that we're about to close on? And the ROI was something in the region of 800%. But that deal, for example, you only need about £1,000 to enter on that deal. And the reality is, if you got that deal yourself, instead of, imagine if it wasn't me, imagine you got that deal. So you got a deal where you just need £1,000 to jump into that deal. Could you raise £1,000 for if you're generating an 800% ROI? This is a question to the people in their vehicle. All right, so that's one yes.
Of course.
Of course, that's my answer. Of course, so that's two of courses, one yes. Answers at the back.
Yeah.
Yes and yes. All right. So we've got 3 yeses and 2 of courses to the question. Could you raise £1,000 if you were able to generate an 800% ROI with that £1,000? And the answer is yes and of course. So I guess for me, what I would say to you is, you need to have an opportunity that in a simple sense forces people to invest with you, and that's how you can be the person with no money investing. Does that answer the question? Yeah. So that's the real answer, but I know you don't believe that. I know you got mindset issues around that. So I'm going to give you the PC area, PC answer. Now, the second answer I'll give you is, it's all relative. So what I mean by that is, if you've got £1,000 and you can go and find the deal that I'm talking about from earlier on, then it will take £1,000. If you've got £6,000 and you go and find a great lucrative rent to rent, it might take you £6,000. Okay. Why, a great strategy, and I actually got this from trading. Yeah, so I don't trade the stock market. One of my family members trades the stock market. Shout out to Vintage Education, VINTAGEDUCATION.com, vintageeducation.com. Go and learn how to trade on the stock market, etc. But my family member who basically runs Vintage Education taught me something years ago. And what he said to me is, there are people who they call... Okay, Satnav. There are people who are called scalpers in the stock market. Scalpers are people who, they're not trying to get the whole upswing or the whole downswing. They're just trying to scalp a few nuggets from the big swing. So there's a crash, the whole market's going down. I'm not trying to get 100 movements down. I'm trying to get 2 movements or pips. I don't want to talk in trading language, but I'm trying to get 2 pips. I'm not trying to get 100 pips. Okay. Now, what I learned from trading about scalpers is you can do that in property. All right. You can go out of your way in property and go and find people who have already got rent-to-rents up and running, but they want to get out of the rent-to-rent business. Now, if you find someone who's already got a rent-to-rent but wants to get out of the rent-to-rent business, what are going to be some of the key facts about that? The house is probably already going to be set up, so your money being spent to actually set it up, you don't have to spend. There's probably another number, a myriad of other aspects and assets to that kind of a deal. But that's an example. Go and find people already doing it and broker deals with them. Because if you broker deals with them, there's a high probability that you're not going to have an expense as high as doing all the things as if you did it yourself. So I hope that helps. All right. So does that answer the question fully? Yeah. All right. Yep. It's as much money as you want to put in, and it depends on what you're doing as well. If you're doing development, you might need to raise more finance. Okay, etc. Is there a question there? All right, got another question at the back.
What are your views on property property investment overseas, either in the EU or further than that, worldwide?
Cool. So the question was, what are my views on property investment abroad, both in the EU and worldwide? And look, guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not that guy. Okay? Do I own property in the EU? No. If Britain's not classified as the EU, then my answer is no. Okay? With Brexit and all of that. But you know, do I own property outside of the EU? Let's keep it ... Alright? Some of you know that my dad's developments in Africa. And yeah, I think about a year ago or two years ago, we bought a couple of acres. So I own land which we're going to be developing, you know, in Africa. But yeah, look, I guess my answer is I'm not the specialist of international property investment. So go find one. If you're interested in finding the answer, find one. I only invest where I understand the market, or where I have someone who really understands the market I can work with. So hopefully that answers the question. I do apologize. Yeah? Alright, cool. Any other questions? We're going to take 2 more questions and then it's a wrap. Alright, 2 more questions and then it's a wrap. So they can come from the car or they can be live questions. If you've got a question, send your question in. Alright, cool. 2 more questions and it's a wrap.
Looking at the market, at the minute, a lot of people are struggling to sell their houses.
Yep.
As an investor, it's an opportunistic time to kind of get involved. Yeah. Now, when you're making offers, yeah, I don't even know what determines. Obviously, you don't want to find yourself in negative equity if the market does bottom out. So, what determines the offer you're gonna make?
Okay, good question. All right, so that's a really good question. What determines the offer you're gonna make? And that's premised in terms of context with when you're looking at the market. You know, it might be a buyer's market right now rather than a seller's market, etc., etc. What I would say to you is you need to first and foremost establish why you're doing the deal. So for me, I break it down when I work with people. I break it down to 3 key areas in property. I say there's 3 ways you can make money in property. There's cash flow, there's profits, and there's equity. Or, you know, Dan Hill uses the term assets. Now, the way I say it to you is like this. If you're looking at cash flow, then for me, it doesn't even matter what the value of the house is or becomes. If I buy a house for 100k, that tomorrow there's a crash and becomes worth 17k, if it's still cash flowing, you know, hitting the criteria I desired, which might be like £1,000 a month, I don't care if it's worth 17k, because I've got no intention to sell it. And I can hold that for 15, 20, 100 years with it cash flowing my £1,000 a month if that was the intention. And you know, I was speaking at a conference on Saturday, and that was one of the things I shared. I shared the biggest problem for most people investing in property is they're trying to do all 3 at once. They're trying to buy a cash flowing asset, which gives them massive equity, and also they have profit all in one go. The reality is that just doesn't happen most of the time. And if that's what you're trying to do most of the time, then you're trying to do something that doesn't happen most of the time, and that's going to end up in you not having any deals, or having silly deals, or buying lemons, thinking that, yeah, there's going to be cash flow, yeah, there's going to be profit, yeah, there's going to be equity. So in terms of answering the question, how do you kind of determine your, say, with creativity? So if you're offering on a property that you feel might not hold its value over the next couple of years, stick in some terms, do an exchange with delayed completion, stick in other terms, potentially do a purchase lease option or a lower lease option. You know, use creativity. There's so many people in the property space. You know, look, this again, you know, I've done training with Simon Zucci. You know, go train with Simon Zucci. He's got Property Mastermind Foundation course. You know, if you want, ask me for the link. You have to preface everything.
We on?
All right. So, what I was saying a moment ago was basically, if you want to learn how to do a lot of these creative strategies, go and actually jump on courses with people that know what they're doing. So Simon Zucci is one of the people that I've done a lot of training with. You know, he's got a Mastermind Foundation, a 1-day course. If you're interested, just write links as your comment, and I'll put the links in there for you to go and see those courses. But you know, Simon's got a 1-day course. In that 1-day course, he'll show you how to buy properties from motivated sellers. He's got a 3-day course. That's actually my favorite course out of all the courses I've done with Simon. And he's got a 3-day course, the Mastermind Accelerator course. Again, if you're interested in the links, ask for the links. I'll send the links. And basically, the Property Mastermind Accelerator is a 3-day immersion course where he talks about all of the strategies. Again, you know, these kind of things, they're no-brainers. You're going to spend 4 grand, 5 grand. Even if you're going to spend 10, 20 grand, you're going to spend 20 grand and learn how to make 20 grand on one deal. Come on, that's a no-brainer. So I would say to you that if you're interested in making the offers right, but you're not sure if that property will hold its value, think creatively and offer something creative. It doesn't always have to be a book standard exchange and complete conveyancing process. All right, that's old school, you know, but the new school are a bit more creative. So hopefully that helps.
Okay.
All right, last question.
We'll take the final question from Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Again.
Well done, Brian.
He's asking.
Hello, Paul Dexter. Hello, all of those other people that are watching.
Ahmed, Nikki.
Hello. Thanks for jumping on. I apologize you didn't get time to ask questions, but last question now on the AMA.
Okay, so Brian is asking, do you have any useful nuggets on approaching letting agents to get property grade deals, rent to rent in particular?
All right, that is the perfect question to come last. Do I have any nuggets for people who are approaching estate agents and want to basically get rent-to-rents or other deals through estate agents? The answer is yes. The best nugget I have is going to be found when you take action on one website, and that website is www.canarywolfpin.co.uk. Now, why am I sending you to my pin meeting? Because October, the first Thursday in October, my main speaker, an amazing woman, Sally Cope, who basically has invested. She's basically one of my coaches. She's been a coach for me since I've been in property. She's going to be speaking at the Canary Wharf Pin in October. And the title of her presentation is How to Get Into the Estate Agent's Little Black Book. All right, so she's going to spend 45 minutes on the night talking all about the exact question you've asked me. So in terms of nuggets, how to get into estate agents, what I would say to you is, look, I do work with estate agents. I've got a number of estate agents I work closely with. However, that is not my main strategy in property. My main strategy is direct to vendor. It's always been direct to vendor. And the reason why is because when I go direct to vendor, I have no competition, okay? Or very little or limited competition. 9 times out of 10, the properties I'm looking at are not marketed on any online portal. 9 times out of 10, the properties I'm looking at are not marketed on any estate agents' boards. Estate agents don't even know about 9 out of 10 of the properties I'm looking at. So although I do work with agents, although I have agents on my power team, although I've got agents that bring me deals, my primary work is with direct sellers. Okay, now the reason I'm saying that is because I want you to be aware that you don't just have to do things the traditional way. All right, now am I saying don't work with agents? No, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is go on www.canarywolfpin.co.uk, register your seat, make sure you're on the guest list. It's going to be £20 max for you to basically book your seat and come and see us the first Thursday of October and listen to Sally Cope present on how to get into the estate agent's little black book. So hopefully that answers the question. All right. Yep. Cool. Okay. So I just want to say a great big thank you to every single person who jumped on the live at any stage of this call. If this live was of value to you, put a thumbs up, write the word value. If there's other things you'd like us to do to help you on your property journey, let us know. I gave the free e-publication out earlier, www.sourcingblueprint.com, and we're going to put that link in the comments also. All right, I hope this has been good for you. We're off to Stoke. We're going to be going to look at our property portfolio up there. Have a great day. Samuel Akinwin signing.